Hi everyone. It has been a long time. We have been away from studies. Now it's a time to come back to studies. And today we are going to start with economics for class 12. And we are going to start with the second book, that is Indian Economic Development. And in that we are going to start the second unit, that is the challenges faced by India. In that we are going to start with the first chapter, that is chapter number 4, poverty. Hereby I am sharing a PPT with you, and along with that PPT, I'll be teaching you. So I expect you all to pay attention to the PPT. And in case you have any queries, you can ask me by the end of this lecture. So here's the PPT. So we are starting with chapter 4, poverty. As we all know, poverty is a very common word which we use in our daily life. And you must be aware of poverty as it has been a part of your syllabus in class 9th as well. But let us once again discuss what you understand by the word poverty. Uh, Poverty, when we talk about, it is actually a condition of a person when he or she is not able to fulfill its basic need. So, poverty implies inability to get minimum consumption, requirement of life, health, and efficiency. Now, what do you mean by minimum consumption? Minimum consumption means having a balanced diet, a diet that is required for a proper functioning of the body. Because if the proper functioning is not there, you will not be able to contribute completely to the economic activity you are doing. If your economic activities contribution is not complete, then definitely the GDP will be less. If GDP is less, definitely economic development would be less. That is why health is a very important criteria when we talk about economic development. So, in more simpler words, we can say that poverty is a social economic condition where a person is not able to fulfill its basic need. Hence, we say the person is poor. Now, the question is, how do we identify that a person is poor? So, how are the poor identified? Simple words, there are two types of poverty, we can say. Poverty are of many types, but what we have in our syllabus is basically two types of poverty, that is relative poverty and absolute poverty. Now, what do you mean by the word relative and what do you mean by the word absolute? Absolute means completely, and relative means in relation to something. Let us take an example. There is a person who is handicapped. He's not having any work to do. He's living in slum area. He's born in slum area and he dies in slum area. Whole life he was engrossed into poverty. Whole life he was not having basic things to be fulfilled. Whole life his requirements were dissatisfied. So when I say absolute poverty, I mean to say a condition wherein a person is not able to fulfill its basic needs, or the person is always below the poverty line. Now the question is, ma'am, what is poverty line? Poverty line is not a line that could be seen. Poverty line is an imaginary line that divides the population into poor and non-poor. We don't say rich and poor, we say poor and non-poor. So who are poor? Poor are the ones who are not able to fulfill the basic needs. So definitely they will be lying below the poverty line. And the one who are able to fulfill the basic needs are non-poor. They are going to lie above the poverty line. So this is the way how do we classify poor and non-poor. So absolute poor is a person who will always be below poverty line. So I'm reading here absolute poverty. In India, concept of poverty line is used to measure absolute poverty. Poverty line refers to that line which expresses per capita average monthly expenditure incurred by the people to satisfy their minimum needs. And now this poverty line can be expressed in two ways. First is calorie intake and second is per month expenditure. It would be different for rural area and it would be different for urban area. So your homework is to find out what is the poverty line recently for the urban area and the rural area. So this is all about absolute poverty. Now the second thing what we have to talk about is relative poverty. If I compare myself with a person living in a jhopatpatti or in a slum area, so who is poor and non-poor? Definitely the person living in slum area is poor and I am non-poor. I compare myself with Shah Rukh Khan. So definitely in comparison to Shah Rukh Khan, I would be comparatively poor and Shah Rukh Khan would be non-poor. If I compare Shah Rukh Khan with Birlas, then definitely Birla, or you can say Ratan Tata, or you can say the owner of Microsoft is definitely non-poor, and uh, Shah Rukh Khan would be poor. So this way we can define absolute poverty and relative poverty into different categorization. So relative poverty we can define, it refers to poverty of one set of people in relation to another, in relation to time, or it could be in relation to place, or it can be in relation to standard of living, or there could be some other dimension as well. So till now we have seen what is poverty, what is poverty line, then different ways of measuring poverty, then and how the poor are identified. Now we move on to the most important thing, that is causes of poverty. So the very first reason is low level of national product. You are a macroeconomic students, you will be studying GDP, national income. National income is a basic criteria for understanding the growth of an economy. If we have money in the pocket, then definitely we will spend more, we are more rich, and vice versa. In the same way, it depends upon the nation. A nation which has more national income, more national product, will be having a high growth rate, and so on. So, India still being a developing nation, we are having a low level of national product, which means there are few people who are still not able to get the basic necessities. So, we say this is one of the reason for poverty. So, let us come to the second reason. The second reason is low rate of growth. Low rate of growth. See, if your family has to grow, you need to have more resources, and more resources are availed by money. So more money, more resources, more growth, and vice versa. Similarly goes for a nation. If the national product is less, resources are less, definitely growth will be less. So when there is less growth, government is not able to do much for the people. As a result, the national product is also low, which leads to low rate of economic growth. Next is heavy pressure of population. We have a small cake and we have many people to eat. What will happen? Every person is going to get a very small piece of cake. This is about the relation between growth and population. Growth is, you can say, a cake, and population is the number of people among whom it has to be divided. So, bigger is growth, less is population, big piece. Smaller is growth and more population, small piece. So due to less national product divided by more number of people, every person is getting a very small share, which we call it as per capita income. And this per capita income defines the standard of living of a person. So when the standard of living is low, when the per capita income is less, definitely there will be few people who would be engrossed into poverty. So population is bringing a pressure on the nation, which leads to poverty. So we come to next point, that is inflationary pressure. Now the question arises, what is inflation? Inflation is a situation which we call as excess demand. Excess demand itself says that the demand is more and the supply is less. Now, when the demand is more and supply is less, what will happen in the market? Of course, in the market, the prices of the products will increase because demand is high and comparatively the supply is less. So this creates a pressure which increases the prices of the product, the poor becoming more poorer because all the basic goods are now of more price. It is outside the reach of a person with a low income, which adds up to poverty. So, next is unemployment and underemployment. They both seem to be synonym to each other, but what is the difference? Underemployment, a person seems employed, but he's actually not working. And unemployed, a condition where completely person is not working at all. So, unemployment and underemployment both are again the consequences of low growth, which leads to poverty because a person is either not working or the person is working but his marginal productivity is zero. It is not adding up to national income. It leads to poverty because in both the conditions, the person will not be able to fulfill basic need as there is no extra generation of income. When there is no income, no fulfillment of needs, leading to poverty. The next reason is lack of efficient entrepreneurs. Lord Macaulay, under the British rule, when he came to India, he has set up education system in India which will create job seekers, not the one who will create jobs. So, when I say lack of efficient entrepreneurs, I mean to say the people in India, the students in India are taking education which will make them job seekers, not job creators. So, India needs efficient entrepreneurs who can develop jobs for themselves as well as for others. This will create more opportunities for work and hence it would help in reducing poverty. So, lack of efficient entrepreneurs are again one of the reasons for poverty. Then we have outdated social institution. Social institutions are outdated. Why they are outdated? Because they have not been changed as per the need of the society and time. Hence, I'm social institution here and I'm talking about schools and colleges. They are still giving that traditional education. Now it's a time for us to change our traditional education into vocational education that can create human resource, not human beings with a degree. They have half nowadays, students have half baked degrees. Why I'm calling half baked? Because they are kacha. They are only having a degree but they do not have practical knowledge, and in the absence of practical knowledge you cannot face real life. When you have lack of skills, definitely you will not get jobs. When you don't have jobs, you have no source of earning money, you are leading to poverty. So we needs to have the institutions with vocational courses. And the last but not the least is lack of infrastructure. We know that Indian economy is a developing economy. And for every economy, there are two important things to focus upon. That is economic infrastructure and social infrastructure. Economic infrastructure, like means of transport, means of communication, which will directly accelerate the economic activities. And social infrastructure, like health and education, which will indirectly add up to the quality of life. So, India is lacking behind in both types of infrastructure, that is, economic infrastructure as well as social infrastructure. So, it's a very high time for the country to take initiative for it and to improve it. Let's come to the next slide. What are the suggestions for the removal of poverty? Now here I'm talking about general measures. We'll be talking in specific about specific measures also. That is the measures taken by government, various poverty elevation programs. But right now I'm talking about general measures. So what are the general measures? First is speeding up the pace of economic growth. If you have to improve your result, you have to improve your result individually in various subjects you are studying. Similarly, if we need economic growth, we need to increase GDP. If we need to increase GDP, we need to increase the contribution of primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. In today's scenario, primary sector is okay, tertiary sector is growing. Why tertiary sector is growing? Because I said already that Indians are job seekers. We have MNCs coming up due to cheap labor availability, skilled human resource. Many of the people are getting job with MNCs. As a result, our GDP is increasing, but due to due to tertiary sector, and this growing of tertiary sector is only contributing to a partial growth of India, but a major growth portion goes to the home country to which it to which the MNC belongs. So it's a very high time for India to concentrate on the speed of economic growth. If you are able to speed up economic growth, we'll be able to create more jobs. If you are able to create more jobs, more people will have disposable income. They'll be able to fulfill their basic needs. Hence, poverty will come to a standstill. Okay. Second is reducing inequality of income. In an organization, you see different people are working, right from a guy who's grooming to the CEO of the company. There is an inequality of income in India. Why? Because according to skills, a person gets job. So there is a need to reduce the inequality of income. The inequality of income can be reduced only when a human resource is skilled. So there's a lot of need to concentrate on education so that inequality of income could be reduced by making the human resource more skilled. Then the next is reduction in the growth rate of population. Population is a very important ingredient or factor which is not allowing India to grow at a higher rate, because whatever we produce is eaten up by the extra people born in the country. So till we are not controlling population, we will not be able to reduce poverty, because the economic problem remains the same. What economic problem? That the resources are less and the number of people demanding resources to fulfill needs are more. So when wants are more and resources are less, always there will be some section of society who will not get basic needs. And when they are not getting basic needs, definitely a part of society will be there which will be suffering from poverty. The next is development of agriculture. Indian economy being an agrarian economy, Indian economy being blessed with various flora and fauna and fertile land, if you concentrate on agriculture, I think we will be able to generate more jobs which will help in reducing poverty. Stability in price level, excess demand, inflation, deficit demand, deflation, both are harmful for an economy. So it is very important that government should take steps to stabilize the price level so that the basic necessities are affordable by the weaker sections of the society as well. Then eradication of unemployment. Till and until employment opportunities are not provided to all, I don't think India will be able to remove poverty, because poverty can be removed only when India has sufficient jobs or employment. And last is opportunities for self employment. We need to change our educational system so that we don't create job seekers, but rather we create but rather we create that mob of people who are able to create job for themselves as well as job for others. So in today's lecture we have seen what is poverty, what is poverty line, how poverty is categorized, then what are the causes of poverty, and what are the general measures for removing poverty. And the rest of the lecture we'll be going to continue in the next class. Till then, good day. Thank you.